Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to this special edition of Workout Wednesday, whatever week it is, whatever. We are joined this week by Ann Jackson, who's visiting us from Arizona. She's dealing with the weather change at the moment. And we're going to actually go through one of her, let me change my camera. We're going to be going through one of her vises today, or sorry, one of her challenges today. And it's Workout Wednesday 2021, week 5. So Ann is here to rescue us when we get stuck, and we'll just kind of see how far we get. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open this up. Do you all want the link? I'll send the link in the chat so that you have it as well. Okay.
I'm going to preface and say this one should be easy, so no pressure. Do it in 20 minutes, Andy.
It just depends on how much time we have. I did read through the requirements, and some of them I don't quite understand, so you might have to clarify some things along the way. So, Henry, have you been on one of these where we've done a Workout Wednesday before? I don't think Brandon has either.
I have.
You have, okay. So there's a lot of little things that we might skip just to see how far we get in an hour. But essentially, we're going to start by just building this main part of the view. So if we look at the requirements, so Ann says the dashboard has to be 16 by 900. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm just going to get my dashboard size set up. So, connect to Superstore, by the way. And it should be whatever version ends in, has 2021 as the ending year. So if you just drag order date in, oh, so this isn't the right one. Okay, so let me close that. And I've got about 12 different versions of Superstore in here. I think this one will work. There we go. Okay, so make sure it ends in 2021. Okay, so let's first build our dashboard. So let's call this 1600 by 900. And I'm going to kill the phone version so we don't accidentally use that. And we're done. That's it. Well done, gang. If it were only that easy. Okay, so scratch that one off. The number of sheets, so it's up to us. I think we should try to do this in one sheet. At least the chart itself, we should be able to do in one sheet. I think because I believe there's some sorting requirements as well. Add-on sorting for each of the metrics. Okay, so we'll have to kind of figure out how that works later. All right, so we want to construct an RFM dashboard. Do you want to explain what that is, Ann?
Yes, so an RFM analysis, or what I'm calling an RFM dashboard, is a term used in sort of marketing and retail analytics. It stands for recency, that's the R, frequency, the F, and M, monetary. So as it relates, it's customer purchasing or customer habits. So the key questions are, how recently has someone made a purchase? So Chuck Clark has made a purchase 2 days ago. How many orders has he had? That's the frequency. And then the monetary is the total revenue. I think for added value, having that average order value. And then Andy, if you hover over like the total products, you can see some insight into what Chuck actually buys from Superstore. So there's a little bit more there. So the idea is we understand our customer population a little bit more, and we can kind of figure out maybe how we want to market to them, or, you know, maybe put them into behavioral groups, that type of thing.
Okay, and is it showing, it looks like it's showing every customer in here, right? So there's no filtering on the customers.
Yes.
Okay, so, all right, so let's start with, I guess the first thing to do is just put the customer name in there. So let's drag customer name onto the rows, and Ann likes all caps. So we're gonna just rename the customer name field to customer. I wonder how many people write a new calculation that just changes it to uppercase.
So this is my last, the one I put out today. I don't know, Erica, if you saw it, because we were chatting about it yesterday. I built out, I didn't change the field names to all caps, I should, but I prepped one that's just Ann Jackson Superstore. That's all caps for the dimensions. That is my gift to the community.
Your parting gift.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then, so we need to come up with this. Actually, let's do this one last, the time since last purchase, because some of these will be easier to just throw in. So total orders, so that's going to be just the count distinct of order ID. So I'm going to create a new calculated field for that in case we need to use it again later. Plus I can make it capitals. So total orders is just going to be count distinct of order ID. Right, hit OK and stick that into the columns. And we could just double check if we find Chucky. Chucky Clark. So where is he? Chuck Clark. So he's got 10 orders. Okay, so we're good there so far. And then we need to do total revenue. So that's just going to be sales. So I'm going to rename that as total revenue. And drag that to the, and let's see, what do we have for Chuck here? 2870. Okay, so that looks good so far. And then average order value. So that's going to be the number of, it's going to be the total revenue divided by the number of orders. So let's create a new calculated field. And what do we want to call it? Average order value. And this is where it's useful to build out these fields in the columns already. So we can just drag in the sum of total revenue divided by the aggregate of the total orders. It's a really useful thing to teach people to do as well, because then it avoids the world famous aggregate, non-aggregate error message. I wonder if that's the most frequently asked question on the forums. It has to be. Has to be something like that. All right, so and then let's go ahead and set the default number format for that. So it looks like it's a whole number. And let me hover over just to make sure. So we're going to set the default number format to be a number custom and then with a $sign in the front. We have to do that and because our currency changes.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
I mean, just doing this and changing it to $1 is really the same thing.
Mm.
But I prefer just to use, I hardly ever use the currency one. And hit OK. All right, so that's that. And then total products, this is, I guess, the number of, so Anne, is it the number of unique products they bought?
It's the quantity.
Okay, so the number, yeah, but so if they bought number 2 pencils 3 times, do I count it 3 times or do I count it once?
If they have one order where they bought 3 number 2 pencils, that would be 3.
Okay, so we want to create a new calculated field. That is our total products. And so we want to say, so I think we just want to do a count on product ID. If I see Anne snickering, that means I'm heading down the wrong path.
So in Superstore, one row of data, there is a product,
row ID,
but it can't, no, but it can have multiple, right? So one row maybe is 3 number 2 pencils. So it's just the sum of the quantity.
Oh, I didn't even think about the quantity field. God.
Never used, rarely used quantity field.
So cancel that and then just rename the quantity field to be total order. No, what is it?
Products.
Total products. Thank you. Right. I would have gotten there. And drag that to the columns. Oh, did I forget to bring the average? Yeah, bring average order value out. So we should have total orders as the first column. Total revenue is the second, average order value is the third, and then total products is the fourth. All good? All right. And let's click on the little T up at the top to turn on our labels. And it looks like, where'd Chuck go? I lost him. Things started scrolling. So Chuck, who was it? Chuck who? Clark, I think. Mm-hmm. So we need to format the revenue. So over on the left-hand side in the data pane, right-click on total revenue and set the default number format also to dollars with no decimals.
Now, if I were doing this, I would have done total revenue and average order value at the same time and formatted them together.
Right, but I already did average order value,
Yes, I know.
but I wasn't looking at the text yet. So, but I understand what you're saying, and I appreciate the feedback.
Save yourself a step.
Okay, so so again, we're going to come back to time since last purchase last. So we've got total orders, total revenue. So we got 3 bars in a circle. So let's on the first total orders, I'm just going to change it to a bar. I like making sure that they're bars just so that Tableau doesn't screw it up when I put something else in the view. So bar, 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 and then this last one is a circle. Okay. And for the circle, we want it to be, looks like we want it to be a bit bigger. How big is it? It's pretty big. Okay, you just made the rows a bit taller. So let me just make the rows a bit bigger. Okay, something like that, good enough. And then we're going to put the number, so on the label, make sure you align it to the middle and the middle. All right, so I think we're okay so far. Everybody good? Yeah, okay. And then let's go to the all marks card and let's drag measure names onto the color shelf. So we can get a color for each one. And then let's edit the colors. And is it a particular palette, Anne? Or is it,
yes, I think it is. I think it's summer.
Oh, it can't be summer. There's no gray in summer.
Well, okay. The first 4 are.
Oh, I don't know. That's not the same color green.
It might be the green teal.
Green, orange, teal, that one? Oh, there we go. Eva says hi.
I think it might be both, actually.
That's okay. We'll figure it out.
No,
so time since, oh wait, let's see. Total orders is going to be, that looks like that blue. Total revenue is some kind of red. I don't know, just pick colors, doesn't matter. Total revenue is like a reddish color. Average order value is an orange. And then the last one is gray. Okay. Oh, maybe this one is, yeah, good enough. Everybody kind of got something that looks right. What she should have done was put the color codes out there so we have them, but she didn't do that. We could use the color picker as well if we want. Okay, so now let's do the time since last purchase. All right, so on this one, we're going to want to create a calculator. We're going to do this in a couple of steps because I want to first get the time since last purchase for each customer and then calculate the difference. I don't want to do it all in one step in case I need to use that other calculation later. So let's call this, let's see, this is last purchase date per customer. And I put the per customer in there so we know what we want to create our LOD on. So it's going to be fixed on the customer name. Are customer and customer ID the same in this data set? Probably.
Probably.
Let's go with it. So fixed on customer, and we want to do max order date.
You might have 2 people with the same name, though.
That's right. We're going to assume it's not.
Okay.
Anne doesn't know off the top of her head, so that means that she
I don't think
customer.
I use the ID. Yeah, I don't think I use the ID.
I think it used to be that way, but it's not anymore.
They've updated it.
Okay, so this is going to give us the latest purchase date for each customer. So the reason I create a separate calculation for this is so that I don't, in case I need to use this calculation later, I don't have to remember to update it in 2 places if it's wrong or something like that. All right, so then we want to create another calculated field that is, what'd you call it here? Time since last purchase. But I know there's a specific requirement in here for this one.
Yes.
So it is, where is it here? Time since last purchase, and you used 120, okay. So we need to, the date we're going to compare to is going to be January 1st of 2022. Okay.
Yeah, and if I were building it
Or
for
is
real,
that here?
I'd use today.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, if you're building it for real, yeah. Expressed in days if less than 1 year, and years if it's more than 1 year. Okay, so let's first just get the number of days that since the last purchase. So we're going to do a date diff. Our date part is day, and our start date is going to be last purchase per customer. And then I always get confused on which way I need to enter the dates in here. So I'm just going to use the make date function and put in 2022, 1, 1. I always get worried that Tableau is going to read it wrong based on the region you're in. So this is a way just to make sure it reads it properly. Okay, so let's leave it like that for now. We're going to come back to doing it by years after we, because I want to find an example as well. So let's hit OK, and let's drag that to be the first field on the, oh no, wait, nope, we don't want to do that. Notice how in her view, these are all the way across the view. So we're going to do that with a dummy column. So in the columns, just double click in the column shelf and do average of 1. And I'm going to drag that over to be the first column. And I know we're going to need to fix this later. And then on that first mark, change it to a bar. And then we want to put the time since last purchase on the label. And then center that label. Okay, so that gives us, so Chuck is 2 days. Where's Chuck? CHU, yeah, so Chuck Clark is 2 days. All right, but notice we have a little bit of a gap between the end of the number 1 and then the start of the next of total orders, where here there's not. So we need to edit our axis and fix it to go from 0 to 1. And then close that. And then we need to change the color to green for that field. So I'm going to open up my measure names again. And it's some kind of green. I don't know, let's pick one here. I'm going to go with this one. Oh, that's a bit bright, but it'll have to do. Oh, no, that's not the right one.
I think that is the right one.
It looks too bright. Whatever, doesn't matter. Good enough. Okay, and then we also want to make sure for this particular mark that the font matches the mark color. But I'm not going to change the size in this one. I'm going to change the size of the marks on the all marks card. And it looks like that's probably like 10 point, 12 point. I don't know, we'll figure it out. So go to the all marks card and click on label. And in the font, make it, is it 11? Do you know what it is, Anne, off the top of your head? 12?
I think it's 12.
12. And bold. Okay. Good enough. Okay, everybody good? Brandon, all good?
Yep.
Okay, and inside the circles, it looks like it needs to be white. So let's go down to our circle marks card and change the font color to be white. And it looks like our circles are going to be a bit bigger, but we can fix that later. All right, any questions so far? No? Okay. Let's do a bit of formatting while we're here. Okay, this says days. We'll come back to that again. I know we still need to address that requirement, but there's no grid lines. It looks like there's we've got the 0 lines that are, I know some of them have a 0 line. Anyway, let's see if we can figure this out. So let's format the view and go to the lines option and turn your grid lines on and then back off. My favorite annoying thing that I have to do in Tableau. Okay, and then on the borders, we want to
just on that,
yeah.
you don't have to turn them off. If you just click grid lines none again, it does the same thing and gets rid of them.
So if I clear that and then I click on none, but that doesn't do it for both of them though, I don't think. See, it didn't do it for the rows.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So your columns are still on.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, turn them on and back off. We need the zero, let's see. I'm not sure if it's a zero line or not. Yeah, let's set a zero line to a single line and make it black. Okay, that's not it. So undo. All right. It's not, it can't be the column divider because there's no column divider on the left. Mm-hmm.
It's the axis ruler.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay. Oh, very good. Okay, so that's black. Nope. So, okay. And I know it's not the row and column dividers, so let's go to the borders and turn those off because it's not those. And it's, okay, so on the rulers, we need to turn those off. But we only want the zero line. Oh, I know what it is. It's because these are all centered. So so go to the circle marks card. And let's duplicate the total products down to the label. I know that doesn't really do anything. And then on the columns where it says sum of total products, so just double click in that and let's make it like an average of, I don't know, 0.5. Oh, 0.5. Okay, there we go. So we're getting closer. But we still have a zero line on this one. So we can change that by editing the axis. And let's fix the, oh, wait, I think if we do uncheck include, there we go. So just uncheck include 0. Okay, and that has, it looks like it's got some kind of line in the background of it. See like a line behind the circles? If I make them smaller. Yeah, so we could see, oh, okay, that's, okay, interesting. Okay, well, let's see if we can fix that. So let's format the view again. Oh, actually, I think probably what Anne has done is on this one, on this axis, if we started at like, 0.01, then that's going to get rid of the 0 as well. All right, so let's go into format the view again and go back to our lines and set the 0 lines to be a solid line and black. So then we have 3 of them, but we still have this one behind here for some reason, even though it's not at 0. Why would that be? Oh, I know what it is. Notice how the black lines are behind the marks now, but here they're in front. So she's done reference lines. So let's clear, so set the 0 lines to none. Okay. Good. All right, so let's go to the analytics pane and bring on, no, we want to bring on a constant line, and I'm going to do them one at a time. So total orders, I'm going to just set it to 0. And then total revenue, set it to 0. Oops, I think I dragged on an average line. And then one more for the average order value. Okay, now we need to format those, and we also need to get rid of the 0. So I'm just going to click on the 0 at the bottom of the view and choose edit. My label I'm going to set to none. My tooltip I'm going to set to none. And then I'm going to make it a thin black line. And then repeat that for the other 2 reference lines. Anne thought she had us there. I could tell by the face.
I can't believe you didn't figure that out sooner.
Well, I usually build it and then see what happens. I always forget that the 0 lines go in the back, which is pretty stupid, I think. We shouldn't have to do this kind of workaround just to get a black line on there.
I agree.
Okay. Right. And okay, so we don't have a line behind those anymore. All right. Now something's a bit amiss with our, is your first number in black instead of matching the mark color? It must be because we changed it on the all marks card. So let's go back to the average of 1 bar and click on the label shelf and make it match mark color. There we go. Now we still have to come back to, let's see, what else do we need to do here? So we need to have these headers across the top. So to do that, we're going to put measure names onto the columns. Oh, no, that didn't do it. Okay, how else can we do this? I think, can we move the, I always forget if we can move the axis to the top. Table layout advanced. Nope. We could make it a dual axis, which would be like super annoying.
That's a lot of effort.
Let's see. Do I have an idea?
Is it possible it's just like a text box on the dashboard?
Well, we want to try to do it in one sheet, but because that's cheating. I mean, we could just build a, we could build a text box like that. Do we want to cheat?
It's not cheating if it's a text box. If it's not a sheet, right? It's a text box.
Well, what if you swap out the measure? Then you have to remember to change the text box as well. Or what if you reorder them in the view? Right? And did you do it with did you do it in one sheet?
It's a text box. They're text boxes.
Okay, so she cheated.
That's the path of least resistance.
Okay, so I want to do it in one sheet. So I'm going to, let's see. So I'm going to double click in the columns and put the average of 0.0, or just the average of 0. And then I'm going to make that a dual axis with the first one. And then the mark type, I'm just going to, let's see, so I can move that to the back and then turn the label off. And then maybe set the transparency. How do we do that? Yeah, set the opacity to 0. We're just kind of hiding a circle back there. Okay, got that?
How did you move it to the back?
Right click on the axis.
Yep.
And
Okay.
then move marks to the back. Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
So let's double click in the columns again. This time we need to do the average of 0.0 because we need it to be a different field. And then make that a dual axis with the total orders. And then follow the same steps. You want to move it to the back. Oops. Move marks to back. And then let's see. So get rid of the label. Make the opacity like that. And then do that 3 more times, which is like really annoying.
Or make text boxes.
No, we can't do that. That's cheating.
efficiency.
So average of 0.00. All right, so just follow those steps until you're done getting all of them in there. Oops, I keep moving them to the front. Okay. Probably should change the mark type to text as well. That's not going to change anything, doesn't matter. Okay, but we can hover over and we see the mark there. You see on my, if you look at my screen real quick, you see with the red one here, you can see the circle. So I'm going to change the, I'm going to leave it as a circle, but I'm just going to make it really small. And I wonder if I change it to text, do we see anything? Yeah. I mean, you can still click on something, but I don't know. I don't care. That's good enough. So do that with the other two shelves as well. So I'm going to make it text and then shrink it all the way down. Okay. Oh boy, average of 0.
You've got to admire the dedication there.
And the lack of cheating. All right. Give me a thumbs up when you've got it done. Okay, got you, Erica. Henry, okay. Good sandwich. Brandon, you done? Sylvie? Okay. So now we need to get these names across the top, but to get them to line up nice and neat, we're going to need to, so on each of the axes at the bottom, we want to go to the tick marks and turn them off. So do that for each of the 5 across the bottom. Actually, you need to do it for each of the ones across the top as well. So rinse and repeat 10 times. I guess technically, Anne, if you used a text box, you still did it in one sheet.
Yeah.
But I think it has drawbacks that way. This is quite tedious. We've got 20 minutes left. Feel the pressure. It's a lot of pressure with Anne watching as well. Anybody else feeling it?
This is an easy one.
I'm not saying it's not easy.
Yeah,
I'm just saying you're watching.
It's fun to see how you're approaching it differently.
All right, how's everybody doing? Okay. All right, so I'm going to, oh, interesting. Okay. I think this might work better. So you see how these all have names across the top. I think this might work better. So on each of these dual axis, just swap them around because that'll move the other one to the top. That'll move the label to the top. Unfortunately, there's no like swap button. And then these should all be, yeah. And then make sure the marks are also in the front for all of those. Okay. And then on click on the axis on the bottom and hide the header. Oh, it hid the one at the top as well. That's okay, we could fix that. Why is it not? Okay, I know what we can do. Everybody have their dual axes switched around? Okay, so let's right click on the axis at the bottom and choose format. And you just want to set the font to be white for each of those 5 across the bottom. Another reason a text box would be easier. I'm getting a lot of use out of my mouse today, though. And okay, good. So that should look a bit hidden now. And then these are 12-point going across as well. So I'm going to, let's see. So I'm going to right click on the customer, the label customer, and change that to 12-point. And it looks like it's, I don't want it to be centered. So I'm going to leave it on the right. Oh, sorry, Anne. Okay, and then this average of 1 axis, let's just edit the axis and change the name of the field to time since last purchase. Or change the name of on the axis. Sorry, the axis title, time since last. What the hell?
Fifteen minutes.
And then and then format each of the axes to be 12-point. They should all go to 12. No, okay, so we need to do them one at a time. Is it 12, Anne, like the other ones?
I think there's 12, yes.
I guess it won't look so squished once we get it in the dashboard. Okay, and then the one on the end, the average of 0.5, we need to have that say total products. If we're headed down for a car crash, Anne, please stop me.
I've said my piece about the label.
All right, so now we've got a bit of an alignment problem. So I'm going to, you see how my cursor turned into an up and down arrow? So just drag that up to like underneath of the name of the field. And then right click on the customer where it says customer on the kind of the field label and format that and move the alignment. Oh, can we do the alignment?
I think it would be for the corner, I think.
Corner? Oh, here we go, alignment, top. There you go.
I can't believe you got those to line up. I was very concerned.
It's good enough. Okay.
Where did you go for that?
So if you right click where it's on the field label for customer,
yeah,
and choose format, go down to the section it says corner, and then alignment and pick top.
Oh, okay. You went that way.
Anne's is top centered. Do we want to match hers or should we leave it to the right like it should be? Because the names are right aligned, so the label, the header should be right aligned as well. I think we're going to rebel. I'm going to rebel and leave it right aligned. And then she's going to point that out when we post it. Okay, and then maybe just right click on one of the customers and choose format, and we need to make those 12-point as well. And I think those are also bold and black. think that's right. Yeah, something like that. See, those look a bit smaller. Maybe they're not.
I know I did 11 and 12.
Yeah, they look like they might be 11, but that's okay. You'll let us off the hook for that, right?
I told you 12, so yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
We've been led astray. Okay, so the measure names color shelf that's on the right-hand side. So let's go ahead and hide that card so that when we bring it into the dashboard, we don't have to do it later. And I think we're done with this except for the time since last purchased calculation. So if I go back, it says it has to be in days if it's less than 1 year and years if it's more than 1 year. So did you use 365 as a year?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I think we need to go back into our time since last purchased field. And we want to say, all right, I'm going to copy this because I know I'm going to need it twice. So copy that, and I want to say, if that is greater than 365, is it, yeah. So would you count 365 as days? Is that okay?
1 year.
Okay, so it has to be, oh, we want to say less than 365. And then we want to have that number. Okay, good. Everybody good with that? We could convert it to a string, but I want to try it with number formatting and see how it goes. And then let's do else, and then paste the formula again, but change the date diff to year.
There are decimal years, I think. Maybe not. Let me look.
And I'm going to put a minus sign in the front. So minus date diff. So we're going to use the number formatting to format the positive and the negative differently. Did you divide it by 365 then, Anne?
Yes. Yes. There
Okay.
are decimal years.
So instead of making this year, so switch it back to day and then divide by 365. Okay, thanks. But make sure you put the minus sign at the beginning and then choose end. Did you make it a string?
No,
Okay,
but I used 2 separate calcs.
okay. Well, we're going to try to do it in one and see what happens. Everybody good? All right, so let's hit OK. And so now we've got these weird looking numbers. So put Chris McAfee at the top so that we can see kind of some of the differences here. And then right click again on our time since last purchase field in the data pane. And let's set the default number format. We're going to choose custom. And we're going to put the pound sign and then space days. And then a semicolon and then pound dot, I think they do it like pound dot 0, I think, space years. So because the semicolon separates the positive and negative, we should be able to format them that way. So let's see what happens here. There we go. I like that one. I like that trick.
That's very
That's
nice.
really cool.
You like that one, Ann, didn't you?
I do. I like that. Not how I did it, but I like it.
Can you go back to that, please, Andy?
To the number formatting or to the calculation? Okay, yeah. I can't make it any bigger, so sorry. I don't know if this.
Got it. Thank you.
I don't know if this works on. Oh, okay. Forget it. I'm trying to use this tool to help you zoom, but you can't zoom on Zoom, which is ironic. Okay, Henry, is that working for you now as well?
Yep, thank you.
Okay. All right. So we've got our chart done. So this is where we quit and say we're done, or do we? Okay, so we add sorting for each of the metrics, matching the parameter to know the direction. Okay, so I imagine we need to look at this here. Okay, so we need to do Oh, I see. Okay, so you have a sort by here. So we want to build a parameter that has each of these in it. We probably could do it. Should we just do it as 1, 2, 3, 4 just to make it easier? Or do we want to actually write out the names? Anybody have a preference? I'm usually anti 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on, somebody.
I would build them as an integer and then alias them.
Yeah,
so build as integer.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Okay, so let's create a new parameter. And let's call it a sort by. Make it an integer and then a list. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it was 4, wasn't it? Were there 4? 5. 5 of them in there.
Time
and then-
since last purchase.
Oh, thank you.
Ascending. I'll just tell them
Times
to-
since last purchase.
ascending order on that one.
You're pressuring me. Okay.
The rest are all just how they're laid out. So total
So
orders.
total orders and
These are
then
descending.
descending. Okay.
Mhm.
Total revenue. God. Average order value. That's descending. All the
Yes.
rest of them are descending, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then total products. Okay, everybody good? Okay, so let's hit OK, and then let's show that parameter because I want to make sure it works when we test it. Okay, so if it is time since last purchase, we want to sort ascending, otherwise descending. Okay, so we need to create a new calculated field that is our sort by. And we want to say if a sort by is equal to 1, then we want to, let's put a, let's see, we'll just put a, what's the field we're using here? It's time since, okay, so I'm going to put a minus sign in there and then time since last purchase. Else if sort, oh, I should have done a case statement. That'd be easier. So, all right, I'm going to switch it. So I'm going to make it a case statement so I don't have to write if all the time. What do we call it? Sort by. So when it's 1, then minus time since last purchase. When it's 2, then what's our next one? Total orders. When 3, then total revenue. When 4, then average order value. When 5, then it is going to be total products. And we need to have a sum around each of those because we're going to end up with our, see, I knew we'd get the favorite error message at some time today. So wrap each of the calculations except for average order value, wrap them all in a sum. Okay, and I still have, what did I do here? When,
Oh,
total orders is an aggregate already. Okay. That's right, because we did the division. Or what was it? No.
county.
County, yeah. Hi, Maggie. Hi, Maggie. Erica's jealous.
Always. Is she in her bed?
Yeah.
Oh. No, Maggie. Oh, she's fast asleep.
She looks like a fetus sometimes. Okay. All right, so hit OK there. And then let's see. So we need to have, okay, so we want to sort customer name. So right click on customer and choose sort. And we want to sort by a field, which is our, so we're going to do descending. And the field we want to use is sort by. And there we go. Okay, do you understand why we have to do descending for all of them, even though the first one's ascending? That's kind of why we put the negative sign in there.
That's genius as well.
Scroll up to the top.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've just got the same.
Okay, so that's an easy fix. So we could, let's see, so we could,
You just use a different calc in there, no?
we could, so time since last purchase. So we could say if time since last purchase is less than 365, or could we just divide it by 365?
Can't you just set up a time since last purchase days calculation?
Oh, you mean just create a separate one? Yeah, we could.
Yeah.
So we could just duplicate that other calculation. And then, so I'll call this one days since last purchase so I don't get them mixed up. And then it's only going to have the just the date diff at the day level. Okay, like that. That's what you meant, Erica, right? Okay, and then we need to go back into our sort by and replace time since last purchase with days since last purchase. Okay, thank you, Erica. Okay, what else do we have here, Anne? We've got
There's a vision
so that's
tooltip
that.
on the last.
What's this?
Yes.
Oh, so that's
There's
a filter.
flag.
Okay, so average customer threshold in days. Okay, let's see. So we need another parameter. Oops, that's a calculated field. Average parameter. So it's called active cust period threshold. But you put days in smaller case on that. That's okay. We could fix that with the, we could just edit the title manually. And this is going to be an integer, and we'll just put anything in there. So let's say, just for simplicity, let's leave it as a 4 for now, or maybe even a 3, just so we can see how it works. Right, and then we want to create another calculated field. So this is our threshold filter. Okay, so we're going to have the sum of days since last purchase is less than or equal to our parameter. So what do we call this one? Active customer threshold. So just do a Boolean calc there. And then throw that on filters and choose true. And we should get just those that are less than 4 days. So let's show the parameter, and let's try 6 days. Okay, there we go. So that looks like it's working. And I think so, Anne, yours is set to what, 90 by default? So 90.
I think it's on color rather than filter, but it's kind of same difference.
Yeah, I have it as a flag. So it's green if they are active or less than or equal to 90, and gray if they are older than that. So it still shows everyone.
Ah, right. I thought it was a filter. So if I go down, let me just change it to, oh, there we go. Oh, okay. Sorry, I misunderstood. So we could go to, if we go to the more fields and pick the average of 0, and then put the threshold onto, wait, the average of 0. Which one is it? Now I'm confused on which field is which.
Wouldn't it be the second one? Well. you
Oh
can
yeah,
see
average
on label,
of
right?
yeah, average of 1. Yeah, that's right. And then we want to put the threshold filter onto color instead of measure names. And then it goes what? Green and gray.
Mhm.
So true is nope. You make this quite difficult to pick colors, by the way.
Use the color picker.
I hope you're
It's
proud
so-
of yourself.
They weren't custom. Should have been custom.
And let's just make that gray. Oh, I could have, wait, shit, I just did the wrong one. There you go. Good enough. So let's see if that works. So I'm going to switch it to 4 days. Okay, excellent. So that looks like it's working. Totally misinterpreted the purpose of that. Right, so these are both that. Now we need to do formatting on all, oh wait, I might have a phone call here in a minute. Hang on 1 second. Oh yeah, I've got to jump to a call. Sylvie, can I give you control to finish?
I'm going to have to shoot as well, I'm afraid.
Okay, well, we're basically done. Just if you look over at they each just clean up your tooltips for each one of them. And then this one on the end has a top 10. You're just going to build a little table that has the top 10, the top 10 products listed out in it. Okay. Thank you, Anne. That was good. Thanks for your help along the way.
No problem.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks,
Bye,
Andy.
everybody.
Thanks,
Cheers,
Anne.
Andy.
Have a good
Cheers,
day.
Andy.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.